During Tuesday night's Democratic debate, Bernie Sanders made a very interesting point to CNN's Jake Tapper, and he said, Jake, you're asking me these questions framed from basically the Republican talking points about Medicare for all, but your network here is going to be showing ads from pharmaceutical companies tonight. We're going to see some big pharma ads. And then sure enough, the next commercial break, what did we see, folks? We saw ads for big pharma. We saw, as David Dayen from the American Prospect pointed out, ads from the Partnership for America's Healthcare Future, which is a group that's fighting Medicare for all, funded by hospitals and drug companies. Basically, and also Wednesday night, prior to the debate, right before it started, we also had more anti-Medicare for all ads. We had drug company ads selling their latest blockbuster pill all throughout the night. So essentially, we had the Democratic debates brought to you by Big Pharma. And here's the thing, these aren't cheap ads either. CNN required a commitment of at least $300,000 to buy ad space during these Democratic debates. And here's the issue, folks. We watched it. I watched them. I know most people watching this watch those. And unfortunately, what we did by watching those was that we gave CNN bigger numbers so that now next time they're going to host a debate, they can walk back up to those same pharmaceutical companies, those same companies fighting Medicare for all, and say, well, here's our numbers. Our prices have gone up. You got to give us an extra $200,000. We just made CNN more money from these corporations who would gladly let us die because they don't want to lower their prices. Big Pharma owns the corporate media. They do. The billions of dollars they spend every year on advertising alone is enough to own these big multimedia conglomerates here. But that's not the only part. Bernie talked about the money, and that's something very easy, something most people can understand. But there's another thing which we have discussed here multiple times on Ring of Fire that I'm going to rehash once again. And that is the fact that every single major media outlet here in the United States, including the major newspapers, they all share at least one board member with a pharmaceutical company. Did you know that that's how that works, folks? It's something I had to research probably 12, 13 years ago to really find out. Every company on this planet does not just have a single group of board members, and that's just their little board members. Nobody else gets to share them. Most companies share board people. They're also over here, and they're on this one, and they're on this one, and they're on this one, and they're on this one. That's how it works. And unfortunately, a lot of those happen to be drug company board members who leave their little meeting at the drug company, get their little talking points. Then they go over to NBC or Fox or CNN, and they have their little board meeting with them. That's why you're not hearing enough talk about Medicare for all and how it would be a great thing. That's why these corporate media outlets aren't doing stories on astronomical price increases from big pharma companies, unless it becomes an issue that they cannot ignore without raising eyebrows, right? They did talk about EpiPens many, many years ago. They have occasionally talked about insulin, but it's across the board, folks. It's not just those drugs. Generic drugs are going through the roof, but they're not talking about that. And more importantly, they also don't talk about when these drugs, oops, this drug just killed 5,000 people and there's a massive recall of it and tens of thousands of people have it in their medicine cabinet. Should we cover that on the Rachel Maddow show tonight? No, probably not. Do you think Jake Tapper wants to talk about this? No, I think he's going to pass. Sean Hannity? No, Sean Hannity's on enough medications as it is. And that's the problem with the corporate media. Folks, there's dangerous drugs out there every day killing American citizens. And I promise you, because I know this from experience, from pitching stories and working with other producers, they will never, ever, ever tell that story. Because, as they've told me in the past personally, they're not allowed to. Thanks for watching, everybody. And don't forget, if you like what you see here, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And now you can also become a member of Ring of Fire and get exclusive early access to certain Ring of Fire videos all throughout the week. Just click on the little join button right below the video.